Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kindverse channel. First of all, subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed. Please subscribe, like and share my videos. Today we are going to talk about one of the most significant updates from Russia that is shaping not only the country's economy but also the wider global market. Russia has officially revised up its September oil exports from Western ports by 11%. This may sound like just a figure, but the deeper we look, the more we realize this is not just a trade statistic. It is a reflection of exterior power, projection, interior political and economic strategy, performance of Russia's energy sector, safety features of its domestic and international stability, unique selling points of its geopolitical leverage, the literal and figurative price this move carries, and a conclusion that connects all of these dots. When we look at the exterior of this event, we see the surface-level first impressions. Russia is raising exports despite sanctions, despite ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and despite immense pressure. From the West, the exterior message to the world is one of resilience. Russian oil tankers moving out of ports in the Baltic and Black Sea are visual proof that the country remains a major player in the global energy supply chain. This exterior projection is meant to show strength, continuity, and defiance. It also communicates to buyers in Asia, Africa, and parts of the Middle East that Russia is open for business, no matter what restrictions are placed upon it. On the exterior, Russia is saying, "You cannot isolate us from the global economy, because oil is our bridge to the world." The sight of increased shipments leaving Western ports shows the world that Russia still has control over one of the most essential commodities. For Western nations trying to squeeze Moscow economically, the exterior is a clear message that the campaign is far from working as intended. Now, when we go to the interior, we see far more layers and details than what the exterior suggests. And this is where the real story lies. The interior calculations inside Russia are deeply tied to both political survival and economic strategy. Domestically, the Russian government relies heavily on oil revenue to fund its budget, pay salaries, support pensions, and maintain subsidies that keep ordinary citizens stable. Raising exports by 11% in September is not only about selling more oil but about guaranteeing the inflow of cash that sustains the political system. The Kremlin knows that war is expensive, and that without oil money, the entire foundation of its current operations could weaken. Internally, therefore, the decision to increase exports is a carefully calculated step to prevent economic slowdown, inflation, and social unrest. The Russian Central Bank, Energy Ministry, and major oil companies all work together to ensure that these shipments happen smoothly despite sanctions on shipping, insurance, and banking. Inside the corridors of Moscow, officials are looking at balance sheets, monitoring global oil prices, and ensuring that production continues at a level that can support both the war effort and domestic stability. At the same time, the interior also reveals Russia's shift in market strategy. Since Europe has largely cut off Russian oil imports, Moscow has turned eastward, sending shipments to China, India, and other Asian markets. This interior adaptation shows flexibility in trade networks. Oil that once flowed to European customers is now redirected to other parts of the world. The interior picture is large: planning, logistics, risk management, diplomacy with alternative buyers, and ensuring that sanctions loopholes are exploited to maintain revenue streams. This is why the interior paragraph is essential to understand the real strength of this export increase lies not just in the ships leaving ports, but in the invisible calculations happening within Russia's leadership and economic institutions. Performance is the next area we need to examine, and here we talk about efficiency and effectiveness. Russia's oil sector is demonstrating that despite heavy Western sanctions, its performance remains strong. Tankers are being filled, pipelines are operational, and customers are still lining up to buy discounted Russian crude. This performance, under pressure, is what surprises many analysts. Normally, sanctions are expected to cripple a country's ability to export, but Russia has restructured its logistics, created alternative payment systems, and relied on a shadow fleet of older tankers not subject to Western control. The performance of Russia's energy strategy is measured not only in the barrels exported, but in its ability to adapt to sanctions pressure and keep oil revenues flowing. Performance is also seen in Russia's ability to maintain production levels. Oil fields require constant investment, maintenance, and expertise, and sanctions have cut off access to some Western technology. Yet Russia has managed to keep production stable enough to allow for export increases. This is a demonstration of resilience and adaptability in performance that not many predicted would be possible. 2 years ago, safety features in this case go beyond the obvious. On the domestic side, the safety feature is about economic security for the Russian population. Oil exports ensure that government revenues do not collapse, which would otherwise lead to economic instability and social unrest. Maintaining safety For the population means keeping prices stable, ensuring food subsidies, and funding the ongoing military operations without collapsing the domestic economy. On the international side, the safety feature is about securing shipping lanes, insurance for tankers, and avoiding confrontations in sensitive waters. Russia's safety also relies on diversifying buyers so that if one market closes, others remain open. Another safety element is political. By providing oil at discounted prices to countries like India and China, Russia ensures it has powerful partners that will not abandon it in international forums. These countries benefit from cheap energy while Russia benefits from guaranteed customers. Safety is therefore not just about physical protection of exports, but also about financial and diplomatic shields that make the flow of oil more reliable. Unique selling points are what make Russia's oil strategy distinct in today's market. The first unique selling point is price competitiveness. By offering oil at a discount compared to global benchmarks, Russia has attracted major buyers who are eager to cut costs. The second unique selling point is reliability of supply. Despite war and sanctions, Russia continues to ship millions of barrels per day, creating a sense of dependability for its customers. The third unique selling point is geopolitical leverage. Russia uses oil not only as an economic commodity but as a political tool. Offering energy to certain partners strengthens alliances, while withholding or limiting supply can weaken adversaries. Another unique selling point is infrastructure. Russia has vast pipelines, storage, and port facilities that allow it to move large quantities of oil quickly. This infrastructure is hard to replace and gives Russia an edge. Finally, Russia's adaptability under sanctions becomes a unique selling point in itself. It shows potential customers that Russia can always find a way to deliver. When we turn to price, we must consider both the literal and figurative meanings. Literally, the decision to raise exports affects global oil prices. More supply can ease upward pressure on prices, but since Russian oil often sells at a discount, the move may stabilize certain markets while still keeping Russia's revenue. Figuratively, the price refers to what Russia pays and what the world pays for these decisions. For Russia, the price includes dependence on fewer customers, long-term damage to its relations with Europe, and the risk of over-reliance on China and India. For the world, the price is the geopolitical tension that comes with relying on Russian energy in times of war. There is also the environmental price, as increasing oil exports prolongs dependence on fossil fuels. The figurative price is high, but Russia considers it acceptable in the face of current challenges. In conclusion, Russia's decision to revise up its September oil exports from Western ports by 11% is more than just a market adjustment. It is an exterior message of strength, an interior strategy of survival, a performance measure of resilience, a safety feature for domestic and international stability, a unique selling point in global politics, and a price that reflects both benefits and risks. This decision shows us how deeply energy is tied to geopolitics, how Russia leverages its resources to maintain power, and how the global economy remains interlinked with Russian oil despite ongoing conflict and sanctions. The future of these exports will shape not only Russia's financial stability, but also the global market's direction. Thank you for watching, and once again, please subscribe to the Kindverse channel, like and share this video so that more people can stay informed about the real forces shaping our world today.